think what you want about Trump. He does not have many more full-throated critics of what he says and does than me. Okay? And yet I called him today because I am ashamed of how we are responding and not responding to the threats on him. And I feel for his family. And I got to tell you, I don't know how he stays in the race. I don't know how he got up after being shot in the head. And you people who try to mitigate that, you need to check yourself. He gets up, pumping his fist, stays in the race, barely even talks about it. That's why I reached out to Trump. I wanted to just say, listen, I'm really sorry that this is going on and it's being dealt with this way. Not because I'm in favor of his politics or what he says. I criticize him all the time. That's my job, and he deserves it. But he doesn't deserve this. A guy pointing an AK-47 at him while he's playing golf? And we take solace in the fact that the guy didn't get any rounds off. That does not work for me. If I had been through what that guy's been through in the last 2 months, you would not know where I am. You would never see me on TV again. No way I would do that. I don't know how he does it. He's got kids, they're adults, but he's got grandkids. He's got a wife. People giving crap to Melania Trump, worrying about whether or not there was a plot around his husband. How could she not?
That's right, bitch. Cuomo. That's right, because he's Trump and you're Cuomo, bitch.
Very true.
That's the answer. That's the answer to his. He can't understand how this guy could get up and fight and fight and fight, because that's why he's on some bullshit channel and Trump is running for president again.
True, but at least he, acknowledged
I know.
And it's rare, broken clock, things like that.
Yeah,
got to occasionally throw a bone and say, hey.
Yeah,
that was
embarrassed. Yeah, he's embarrassed. What he'd really like is for him to get out of the race to save himself from the attempted assassinations that he's embarrassed about. If you could just get out of the race, I can't take this anxiety anymore, Trump. I mean, you just got to bail out.
Yeah, well, you saw that was the response happening within an hour or two of the latest incident. He actually had, of course, MSNBC saying, well, I wonder if he'll tone down his rhetoric now.
Well, back up a couple of inches, Eric, where they said it was two guys shooting at each other. It was a gang-related shooting outside the. I want to know where that created from. Where was the creation of that idea that was put out? Not unlike the Matthew Crooks thing, the disinformation that comes out that second. Like, why was this a personal shooting of two guys who were having a beef outside the property? On what planet did that get created on? Nobody seems to be able to trace these things back to the original source, because that lasted a couple of hours, Eric.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of hours in the news.
Well, I remember when the first one happened and he fell down.
Yeah.
And the Secret Service helped him out because he fell down.
Yeah. Like, where did those come from? Is it tied into the actual plot? Is this the distortion and the disinformation that comes as part of the overall plan, pass or fail? Because at some point when it's operating in real time, the people who are winding up these clocks to set these Manchurian candidates loose don't know if it worked or not. You know what I mean? Like, initially, the second these are happening, they don't know. So these other storylines, not unlike Oswald, coming out with his biography seconds after he's arrested, or even before, depending on the time zone.
Oh, yeah. And
how are these things connected? Who is the originator of those two stories?
I totally agree. And this one stank. Remember how I said about Crooks? Nobody knew anything about him?
Yeah.
This guy, they had a biography. He has a book on Amazon. He's in New York Times. It's so Oswald-like.
Yeah.
With, like the New York Times interview, the Newsweek interview,
like the WDSU radio show.
Bingo, he's handing out flyers. Oswald's handing out flyers. It is,
dude, it's just so sketchily crazy and similar. I mean, I know that area really well. If you had a map, I don't know if you have a map, but Summit hits Congress. My parents used to live up on Congress, right off of Congress up in Lake Worth. When I go to West Palm, I stay really close to that spot. Summit, here it is, Summit Boulevard, which is, I don't know if Eric can zoom all the way in.
This is the best I can do.
Right, but if you look on the extreme right, that is Summit Boulevard. Okay, the next left is Congress. These are two major thoroughfares through West Palm Beach, through Palm Beach, right? Palm Beach County. Now, I don't know where this guy parked his car. I presume he parked it on Congress, because there is nowhere to park on Summit. Summit has no shoulder. There's no side of Summit over there. There's an inch of little bit of dirt. You can't leave your car for 12 hours like this guy left his car. There's Summit. Now, Summit, okay, so Summit Boulevard is a major thoroughfare. And if you go up a couple inches, that's Congress over there. Yeah, that's Congress, which is another major intersection, thoroughfare through that area. There is really no place to park. Across the street is a postal, what do you call a distribution center, United States Postal Service distribution center, with fencing and no parking signs everywhere. I don't know if he could have parked his car there for 12 hours and gotten away with it. I don't know if there's parking on the side of Congress going further up Congress. But for him to jump in that car and get away, and somebody snapping a license plate photo, or he would have gotten away, Hunley, in his SUV. Luckily, he did
get away. He was 40 miles down the road.
Right, but if not for the license plate being turned in by a passerby, this cat's gone. You talk about a flight risk. I mean, he lives in Hawaii. He's from Greensboro, North Carolina. And he also has been overseas multiple times, obviously. Romania, giving an interview to Newsweek, and being in Kiev, in Ukraine. I mean, holy crap, does this guy have the fingerprints of intelligence all over him, to quote the late Pennsylvania senator. This is crazy, Eric. And the press conference with the sheriff from Palm Beach County, this guy, Rick Bradshaw. I mean, this guy's got to go. This guy's got to go. He said, this is not a sitting president. He doesn't get the coverage that a sitting president gets. This is not our problem. The president. And then, Ron Rowe, the new guy. Oh, this was an OTR, off the record. Trump wasn't supposed to be where he was. He wasn't supposed to be where he was. What do you give a shit where he's supposed to be? I mean, that was the most outrageous thing. First of all, I'm hearing that this guy's days are numbered, by the way. Ron Rowe, who was the real director. He was the real director. He's now the acting director, but he was physically the director, not in name, but in activity when the woman was in charge, Cheadle. He has to go. This guy has got to go. The fact that he was talking about Trump not being in the place he was supposed to be, he wasn't supposed to be there, is so outrageous. First of all, the president can go wherever the hell he wants. And it's your job to cover him, bro. I can give you a million examples involving Nixon or Kennedy or anybody else, but they do warn you. There was one point, and I'm just doing a lot of research on Nixon. There was one point where he was going to go into this crowd and talk to this crowd in the middle of a protest, and not the one at the Lincoln Memorial. There was another one where he wanted to go into the crowd, and the Secret Service took him aside, put him in his own car, and of course, Haldeman went in with him. And he took out a card that he had, a pre-printed card, the Secret Service. And it said something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing here, if you continue with this activity, we cannot be responsible for your protection. We recommend strongly against taking this action. And he really understood what they were saying, and he changed his mind. But he could have gone in if he wanted to. But they had a pre-prepared card. This guy's saying that he was not supposed to be where he went. It's his own golf course. He plays on Sundays. This is not like he went into some sort of BLM protest or something. He's on his own course.
That makes it worse. What he said, ironically, just makes it worse, because it's saying he wasn't where he's supposed to be. So then how the hell did our boy know to be there and hang out for 12 hours?
Absolutely. Okay, so that hole in the fence, according to New York Post photographers, is known by TMZ. It's known by the Daily Mail. It's known by everybody waiting at the fifth hole to get a photo of Trump. And in fact, they stand back They physically stand back and then rush forward when Trump is going by on his golf cart or playing that hole. This is known among all the photographers. This is the article I'm referring to here. Everybody knows where to shoot him. And I don't mean with a gun. I mean with a camera.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Right.
And obviously, this is known to the Secret Service. In fact, the photographers interviewed said on occasion they come over and check out credentials, but that's about it. Okay, so this is so lax, so crazy. But I just want to get back to Summit Boulevard for 1 second, because the idea that Summit Boulevard is not rerouted when he's there by the Palm Beach County douchebag sheriff, this guy Rick Bradshaw, the fact that they do not reroute traffic on Summit is insane. Totally freaking insane. Whether he's president or running for president or was president or is going to be president, none of that freaking matters. Just a simple idea, simply because I know the geography. That's crazy. That's freaking crazy, because over there on Summit, it literally bumps up against the property. Anybody going by, driving by, could stop a car and get off a shot. Never mind hiding in the bushes for 12 hours. The fact is, you could be on Summit in a car and get off rounds from a car and keep driving or escape or whatever you want to do. The road has to be rerouted. You can't have this guy playing golf, and it should be coordinated within the Secret Service and the Sheriff's Department just about the traffic, Eric. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. It's very interesting scenario. But what we need to get out of the way is not get out of the way. We're very thankful to have. We do have a sponsor, which at the rate we're going, we need to have as many sponsors as possible. Mark, this is one I know you will like.
Which one?
Yeah. America, listen up. The world is getting more predictable by the day. Political insanity, rumors of civil war, an unstable stock market, and now the looming threat of a new global health emergency. Did you know there's a bird flu summit coming in October? It's eerily reminiscent of Event 201 that foreshadowed the COVID pandemic. And get this, the first topic on the agenda is mass fatality management planning. If that doesn't send chills down your spine, I don't know what will. But here's the good news. You don't have to be scared if you're prepared. The wellness company created the medical emergency kit, and every home in America should have at least one of these. They're packed with life-saving meds like ivermectin, amoxicillin, and even a Z-Pack. And it's all backed by experts like Dr. Peter McCullough. Imagine this. No more frantic searches for a doctor. No more emergency waiting rooms. Just a few clicks, and this kit is delivered to your front door. In times like these, having your medical emergency kit is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Protect your family by preparing now. Head over to twchealth.com/Eric and use the code AUS to save $30. Don't wait until it's too late. Act now, take control, and ensure you're protected against whatever comes next. That's twchealth.com/Eric and use the code AUS to save $30 plus free shipping right now. Right. And while we're waiting here, let's go ahead and look at this takedown.
Ralph, the man accused of hiding with an AK-47 at a Trump-owned golf course.
All right.
Okay, what was that? I'm sorry, I missed that thing there for a second.
I was just playing in the background.
The body cam arrest footage?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's just get into this for a second, because the top of the hour, we've got a guest that I don't want to step on his storyline. But this guy, when he was, first of all, there's a lot of weird MK Ultra stuff coming out of Hawaii for years. But this guy here, people are immediately saying he's a nut. They interviewed his neighbor who lives in Greensboro, North Carolina, and she's been his neighbor for 20 years, this black chick. And she said that this guy, she's known him 20 years, has lived next door for 18 of those years, because for 2 years he went to Hawaii and then came back. He was paying her to watch his house, but he had people in there. She said he was extremely charismatic and extremely handsome and sexy. This is, for her words, this is the neighbor who was a middle-aged black chick. But he was gorgeous and very charismatic. This is him. I don't know how gorgeous and charismatic he is, but maybe in his heyday he was. We should not rush to judgment to think that this guy is mentally ill or insane at all. There's so many weird people out there today. It's hard to judge by any sort of metric, but I'll use this metric. She said out of the blue, they asked her if there was anything unusual in the house. And she said, no, he had a lot of guns and stuff, but this is North Carolina. Everybody does. But he did have a horse in the house. And they went, excuse me? She said, yeah, he lived. Shut up. He lived. Shut up. No, I just got to get this out. The horse lived in the living room. And they said, did he eat in there? She said, yes, there's hay in the living room and the horse lived in the house. I just want to get that out there. In case something happens to Hundley and I. I don't know if he's a crackpot or not, but he lived with a horse in his house.
Did you look up, well, because I figured you would dig into it. Did you look up what the hell the weapon of mass destruction he was arrested with was?
I did. It is a binary explosive with a 10-inch detonator cord and attached to a blasting cap. I don't know what that means in explosive terms. Maybe somebody does, but it is. And I have his complete arrest record here, by the way, which we will go through after the guest possibly. I've got every single arrest he's ever had, and we'll go into the details of multiple felony arrests. But I just want to repeat this. It's a binary explosive with a 10-inch detonation cord and a blasting cap. That's the weapon of mass destruction. I don't know what you want to make of that or not. I'm more interested in Sue Kim. Now, Sue Kim was someone that he spoke. Sue Kim is someone that he spoke with, connected, obviously, to the Rand Corporation. Also, more importantly, an employee of the Central Intelligence Agency. Sue Kim and him were Twitter buddies, and they were
follows.
Yeah. So we're going to have to get into Sue Kim, the CIA. Dude, this might be a gift from God. This entire failed assassination, because it may open up so many doors. Maybe God wants us to go through these doors and find out what's on the other side. But that being said, I just want to say Trump needs to hire Gavin DeBecker and his associates like RFK does. He needs to add them on to his Secret Service team. I don't give a shit what the Secret Service says. Gavin DeBecker has kept RFK Jr. alive without Secret Service protection before and after he had Secret Service protection, which was only for 10 minutes. Gavin DeBecker is now back on the job. He dealt with multiple security threats at RFK's place in Malibu. I strongly recommend that Trump hire Gavin DeBecker and associates as his security force. The Secret Service don't like it. They could kiss his fat ass because this isn't working anymore, Eric. Either he brings in DeBecker or somebody recommends. The DeBecker recommends if it's too much for DeBecker. But DeBecker is the guy that guards all the celebrities out in Hollywood. And there's a lot of crackpots out here, as you're well aware. A number of them overran RFK's property early on that we covered in the news back in the beginning of this election cycle. And he needs to supplement them. He can't just be accepting their excuses. There is no reason that they didn't have that perimeter scouted. Just think about it. The perimeter scouted not for 12 hours. I'm not saying you got to do it every 5 minutes. They didn't do it for 12 hours, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to go, this piece of shit, with his hipster haircut. This fat fuck has got to go. And you know what? What's his name? Bongino served with him. He knows him really well, Bongino.
Oh, yeah.
He worked at presidential detail with this guy. But he said he's got to go. So if Bongino says it, then I got to agree with Bongino.
Well, Bongino said he's worse. He's literally worse than Cheadle.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Cheadle didn't seem like although Cheadle had guarded Cheney. So, I mean, Cheadle was involved with the Cheneys. But I just want to get back to the horse in the house, and then we'll I just want to reemphasize that. And then we're going to get into the guests in a couple of minutes at the top of the hour. We're going to talk about January 6th, which I hate talking about because it has the emotional equivalent to me as 9/11 does. And I don't say that lightly, because 9/11, devastating to me and everybody in New York. Family, real estate attorney was killed in 9/11. So as a New Yorker, 9/11 is the touchstone of pain. This thing is second to me personally, and I don't know anybody personally involved. It seems worse to me than the Japanese encampments and FDR rounding up Japanese Americans in World War II and putting them in concentration camps throughout the West Coast, more in the West, not the West Coast, but moving them off of the West Coast and putting them in concentration camps. This is far worse than the Japanese internments. Let me just put it that way. Far, far worse. When you read the descriptions of the Watergate burglars of the DC jail in 1974, what a hellhole it was and still is. It was an incredible hellhole in 1974, Eric. And the fact that they've been put into this place, there is no justice on the earth, in my humble opinion, that is too severe for the people who did this. And I mean that from top to bottom. Judges, prosecutors, politicians, anyone involved with the incarceration of January 6 people and the 1,500, I mean, Merrick Garland has to be indicted. I mean, every single person involved in one of the biggest historical travesties of American justice must be brought to the full weight of our American justice system once we clean house and get these people out of there. This can't be brushed under the rug. There can't be a 9/11 commission and a report. That ain't going to cut it anymore. These people's lives have been destroyed. They've been incarcerated for years. This is Soviet gulag bullshit. And there's one man who's been dealing with it because nobody has either the chutzpah or the gonads to represent these people in Washington, D.C. because of the political ramifications of representing them. It's
well, Norm Pattis has as well, and he's lost everything in almost his marriage. And his life, all of that. So there's a couple that are in the trenches.
But it's there's so much cowardice surrounding this, and it is that part of it is humiliating as an American. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but the fact is, every single civil liberties attorney, whether you agree with these people or not, should be defending every single one of them. If there's 100 in jail still, there should be 100 personal attorneys dealing with them. There should be a lawsuit every single day. The fact that people are not sitting outside in silent protest of the jail, the fact that congressmen cannot get in to see them, the fact that there's no bail, the fact that their lives have been destroyed for merely trespassing, nobody seems to give a shit anymore, except for this guest who's coming on in a couple of minutes. I don't really know the guy. We're going to find out a little bit more about him. Jonathan Gross is a former rabbi turned lawyer. I guess he's out of Maryland, but we'll find out a little bit more about him. I saw him the other night on Greg Kelly, and I reached out to him. Apparently, he's the attorney for a former guest that we had named Stein 99.
Who definitely needs an attorney, folks. I'm just saying,
definitely
with his stunts, that guy needs to have somebody on call.
So Stein 99, who is a friend of the show, and I've asked to have back repeatedly, and we will, said, yeah, I'll reach out to him. He's my attorney. I went, what? What a small, crazy world. Anyway, so this guest is defending the January 6ers. And it just really aggravates me that this is where we are as a country. The stuff about Trump, obviously insane. Bill Maher, insane. The Never Trumpers, pimp on a blimp. Yeah, we're big fans of Stein 99. There's no doubt about it. But the reality of it is this Shonda, and I'm using Yiddish words because of the guest, but this Shonda that's been happening, it's hard for me to think about it or talk about it because it just drives me totally insane when I start to discuss this, that this is happening. What's a Shonda?
Travesty?
Well, a travesty of it. Yeah.
Okay.
A travesty. Yeah. A Shonda. Maybe the rabbi can explain it when he comes on. But nevertheless, I talked to him yesterday on the phone. He was kind enough to say he'll come on the show and give us a couple of minutes. Shame. Yeah. Thank you, Ronald, a known rabbi himself, Ronald, of course, with his own synagogue in Bay Ridge. But yeah, it just drives me bonkers to think about these people So I don't like to think about it, but I have to think about it, and we have to look at it, and we have to say never again. And we have to shed light on this and not turn away because it's so uncomfortable for us. We need to shine more lights into that DC jail. We need to get this place closed down. It's worse than Rikers Island, from what I understand. The guards have been savagely beating these people. I mean, this thing is so insane on so many levels. I'm ashamed to be an American because of what's going on, Eric.
From what I understand too, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll ask him.
Yeah.
A lot of these, their charge is a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Which, if they were convicted the day January 7th, they would have been out in 3 months. So they're being held without trial for years now. It's like Gitmo at home.
It's worse. I mean, it's like a Soviet gulag. These are political prisoners, and this guy Merrick Garland has to be indicted. I don't want to hear that he's gone now. He's not the attorney general. There has to be retribution for what this guy's done. Somebody's got to pay the price. And look, I'm all for going after Biden after he gets out of office for crimes that he did while he was vice president. I don't give a shit if he can read or think or talk. It doesn't matter to me. There's a lot of us who went after Nazi war criminals who were concentration camp guards well into their 80s and 90s to pay the price of what they did when they were 35. The time factor doesn't cut it with me. But we got to take down Merrick Garland. This guy, because so no other attorney general does this ever again. We have got to drive a legal stake into this guy's heart and make sure that he's incarcerated. Steve Bannon is currently in federal prison. Peter Navarro just got out of federal prison. Trump is facing incarceration on November 26th in state prison in New York. This has got to pay off in the other direction. We can't just turn the other cheek. I love my Christian brothers, but there's a time when Old Testament eye for an eye comes into play. And this is the time now, over the next year, to deal with this. Not 5 years from now. Now, as soon as he gets back into power, God willing that he does. And that's a big if. Okay. But anyway, let's see if we could bring on, if Jonathan is
he's
available.
Not here yet. But...
He's not here yet. Okay, that's cool, because he's probably doing a bar mitzvah. You know, he has to work on the side as a rabbi just to pay for the legal fees that are racking up by these J6ers, by the way.
Who are paying for them? Because I think Norm Pattis might be doing a lot of pro bono.
I think it's mostly pro bono, from what I understand.
Or crowdfunding. Of course, even with crowdfunding, you have Gifts and Go versus GoFundMe, because GoFundMe will shut it down and then the people can't get the money. Remember when GoFundMe tried to steal literally the Rittenhouse money? They said, you can't use that for the defense, so we're going to donate the money to this organization.
No. Don't ever use it again in the history of the United States. That company should never, ever be given $1. I don't care if you lost your legs and arms and you need to raise money for a cheerleader. Forget that company. There are other companies, more Christian-based companies that are more honest that you could use. But man, oh man, I mean, the fact that these people are still incarcerated and people being arrested, I think he said at least 2 or 3 on average a day are arrested now.
Still?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. No. It's not stopped, Eric. They are picking up 300 people a year. Well, he can explain it, but it's almost 1 a day.
I only hope that, I hope that he can succeed and get them out beforehand. But if not, that Trump lives up to what he said and does a blanket pardon day one.
Has to do a blanket pardon day one. They have to be removed from the, and then he's got to go in and shut down the DC jail. And then he's got to find out the guards that abuse these people and have them arrested. And then he's got to arrest the DC guard that shot what's her name in the neck and killed her during January 6th.
Babbitt.
Ashley Babbitt's murderer must be put on trial. And I mean a federal trial, not in D.C. It's got to be done outside of D.C. Got to have a jury trial for murdering this woman whether it's premeditated, involuntary, negligent. It's not up to me to decide. But that dude who got the medal award for shooting her got to be put on trial. There's got to be retribution. There's got to be at least justice, the appearance of justice. This guy cannot receive a medal for shooting an unarmed Air Force member in the head and killing her without having a trial. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, you know what? While we're waiting for him to roll in, let me go through a couple super chats here.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Pamela Clifton said hello from Pam from Texas. Thank you. And she's asking the same question I think a lot of us have.
Yeah.
Is there a mole? And it doesn't have to be, here's the problem. It could be a person on staff at the golf course as well. Oh. It could be Secret Service. It could be a lot of things, especially I found that very troubling that's where the reporters go to grab pictures, and we've seen the pictures. We've seen a ton of pictures of in the golf cart at the course. It sounds like they do it so often it's damn near like B-roll. Oh, let's go get a picture of Trump for the weekend.
Well, let me just put it this way: the fact that behind the bushes there's no brick wall is insane. Okay, if you go down there, like Greg Kelly and other people have said and done, you can literally walk onto the grounds. How many Chinese spies have they arrested in 6-7 years now on the grounds? There's a woman that was arrested literally 2 years ago with electronic devices on his front lawn in her pockets trying to install them. She was arrested. There's been multiple arrests of just Chinese spies who are trying to get in there, Eric, over the past 5 years. They need security of the perimeter of this place. It's insane. The Secret Service, looks at it as a nightclub, by the way. They literally said, it's not, this is the quote from some Secret Service official, it's not our job to secure nightclubs. It referred to Mar-a-Lago. That's the quote. What?
That's not a freaking nightclub, but okay.
No, but I'm saying it's a club. It's a club.
Right.
But it's also a residence, is the point I'm making. It is a club and it is a residence. So there has to be a brick wall. The guy loves walls. I mean, you can't have bushes. Apparently the bushes ain't going to cut it anymore. Build freaking brick walls behind the bushes. What is so difficult? They have it here now since George Floyd, since the riots here in upscale neighborhoods in LA. They've done exactly what I just described. And yet the president of the United States doesn't have this in Mar-a-Lago? It's insane.
Well, sadly, he'll probably have to fund that himself.
That's okay. It's just brick. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure people would volunteer to build it, for Christ's sakes.
Oh, yeah.
In Palm Beach County.
This just came in, by the way, while we were sitting here. Secret Service tells Trump agency can't protect him on his golf courses without additional security arrangements.
Right. In fact, the quote by Rick Bradshaw, that piece of crap sheriff down there, said that next time you'll see more of us. You'll see more of us around the perimeter. But since he's not a sitting president, we don't do it. And I mean, he literally admitted this, Bradshaw. What is it to him to throw Palm Beach County sheriff's police around the perimeter? And the answer is that they're all Democrats.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. And that is the problem with Mar-a-Lago. It's in the middle of the belly of the beast down there.
Well, Trump lives in the belly of the beast between there, New York, DC. I mean, he pretty much likes to live.
Well, in Beverly Hills. He had the place in Beverly Hills where he had the alleged sexcapades.
All right. Somebody's claiming that he already has hired his own security and Secret Service is not.
That's good. Great. Because some people said that it's illegal, that Secret Service has to dominate. Yeah. I've heard that too. And I think Trump should tell them to go F themselves.
Well, I think that there are cases, to clarify, there probably are cases where Secret Service takes initiative or priority. Like the hired people can't say, no, he's going to do this versus what they say. I bet it's
right.
One of those.
But what I'm getting at was they coordinate among other government agencies, but I don't know if they're going to allow a private agency, Eric, to interface with them like a DeBecker. because what is the point of having Mayorkas's Homeland Security helping out? Big deal. They're corrupted also. Any of these other helpers, as you're talking about, right? Homeland Security officials or whatever, Blue Palm Beach County officials, unless he brings in, and apparently they don't want him to do this, which makes me even more insistent that he has to do it, bringing in a Gavin DeBecker private association of security people to oversee everything.
Yeah, or at least a couple Bonginos on staff.
Right,
who
right.
know what the hell should be going on, because I
think about the Secret Service. They're immediately going to box them out. They're just going to physically say you can't be here, which makes it more obvious as to what's going on.
True. But at least having somebody who has knowledge of procedure, what should be happening and not happening, can be saying, why is that open? What's going on here? Why are you doing that? What are you doing there? And, questioning accordingly.
It's so creepy. I can't even tell you how creepy it is.
All right. Al Gonzalez said, I hope this incident puts a rest to the debate about both warning shots and engaging a threat with firearms. It'll leave the rest of the detail to the threat and should have been done in Butler QED.
He's right. Well, I mean, the guy shot at the shooter in a warning shot capacity. He didn't. I mean, where was he shooting, Eric? Has anybody got this? The physics of this?
From what I understand, he saw the barrel coming out of the bushes.
And what is he shooting at?
I think he shot at the guy. I don't think it was a warning shot. I think he shot at the dude.
Al is implying, first of all, there's no physical dude to shoot at, but Al is implying, and tell me if I'm wrong here, that and I haven't heard this, that the Secret Service agent fired a warning shot.
See,
that's what he's saying.
I heard he engaged. I heard he engaged.
Right, but that's what I originally heard. I thought that the guy got off a shot and there was an engagement, but apparently now they're saying, and again, tell me if I'm wrong, he never got a shot off.
I'm not sure if the guy did. I heard that.
That's what the report is now. The report currently stands. He never fired the AK-47.
Okay. Or SPS or whatever it is.
Whatever it was. Right. Okay. So let's walk it through, because what Al is saying is that this is a warning shot. What other people are saying is he fired at the weapon that was visible, which sounds insane if you think it through. Because what does he see? A 2-inch black barrel through the bushes, Eric?
I don't know what kind of angle he said. I've done that like in training with a recon.
Yeah.
And I can recognize a rifle coming out of a bush, depending on, where it is. But to have enough clearance for him to have visibility, it could have been a very clear shot of the rifle. It almost sounds like, and I could be wrong, but it's possible that the wannabe shooter heard the Secret Service, because they were apparently going one hole ahead.
Yeah.
To kind of check it out. And he might have heard them, got into position thinking that it was Trump and crew, and revealed himself too quickly. And the Secret Service individual, to whatever his credit, I mean, it would make sense that he would just shoot at the guy, with the barrel. It is one of those things. What's a rifle doing there pointing at me? There shouldn't be a rifle.
Right. I'm trying to understand the distance of that Secret Service agent from that bush. And I don't have enough information
we only have the grid.
Yeah. We're not gonna have to look at that later. But I was wondering, is Jonathan around? Because he was texting me that he's ready. I don't know.
He's not here.
Okay. You sent him the link, or?
I did send him a link here. I'll text it to you, and you could text it to him. Just copy in and text that over. I emailed it earlier. I haven't seen an email coming back from him.
You're now texting it. Okay. I said, did you get a link? Okay. He said yes.
So he
has the link. So click on the link.
Yes.
Well, I mean, maybe you just got a link, and all right, click on it. Let's see what happens. Not everybody's savvy as you, Eric.
Okay, fair.
He says he has no link. Okay.
No link.
No link. Okay. All right. Hold on. How do I do this?
All right. I'm going to DM him on X.
Right. This is way past my pay grade. I don't know.
This is how the sausage is made, folks.
I don't really want to see the sausage. All
right, you could tell him I DM'd him on X as well.
Okay. Let's see. No wonder they're still in jail.
And people, of course, want to know that whether it's a par 3 or par 4. I mean, that's so important, everybody. What the par is at the golf course where he nearly got shot.
I don't know what the par is, but the fact that the president of the United States, I mean, Biden plays golf every week.
Oh, yeah.
How is this guy playing golf?
Well, I don't think. What does he do? Ride around the cart? Because I don't even.
No. The point of the matter is that they kept saying that. Okay, the direct question from what's her name, who is covering the Secret Service for Real Clear Politics, the blonde journalist. I forget her name right now. She asked Ron Rowe a direct question: what is the difference in size between the presidential detail of Biden and the presidential detail of Donald Trump? And he refused to answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and also it's not just the Secret Service size detail.
Yeah.
When the locals say, yeah, we would have had a perimeter if it was somebody else, because that's essentially what they're saying. Yeah.
Not essentially. That is what they were saying.
And then they were saying, what was it? He goes, isn't he the same asshole who said, you should be proud of your police today?
Yep.
We got a picture. I'm like,
yep.
Well, wait, I'm going to be proud of you because a citizen took a picture. I'm proud of the citizen who took a damn picture, handed it to you, did your work for you, and then you ran it into license plate readers, and you want a freaking cookie? Well, I mean, give me a break.
Speaking of license plate cookies and crimes, as long as we got a moment here, let me just get into the crimes of Ryan Westley Ruth, not to be confused with John Wesley Harding, who may have been a distant cousin. This is it's funny because they have ethnic group and it says European, North American / Australian. I don't know what that means, but it lists European, then / North American, birthday 2/18/1966, 58 years of age. And let me just look at some of these crimes here, because he, in 3/23/2010, he was arrested, class 1 misdemeanor, possessing stolen goods. Okay, well, who cares about that? And then 1/27/2010, it's a felony here, possessing stolen goods. 1/27/2010 is still the felony, class H, consolidated for judgment. They're all consolidated. I guess it must have been 3 different things that he possessed, but it's a felony. What is it? A car? I mean, what makes this a felony of stolen goods? I mean, it's got to be the worth of the. Am I wrong or?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends on how many goods. This isn't California. Most places.
No, this is a felony. I mean, it doesn't look like shoplifting, or maybe it is. I don't know. What do I know? Okay, so 2002, 3/24 got his license revoked. 11/22/2001, license revoked. Then 3/24/2002, March 24th, class 2 misdemeanor, carry concealed weapon. Okay, and then 3/24, same day, motor vehicle violation, miscellaneous. They must have gotten pulled over and they found a weapon, because there's a second charge of that. And then we get into 4/12. This is some year for this guy, 2002. 4/12/2002, hit and run. Okay, now 12/15/2002, again, carry concealed weapon. Then the same day, driver's license revoked. And the same charge, it's a 3 in the same day, resisting arrest, resisting officer, principles, class 2 misdemeanor. Okay. Then you get into 1/22. I think we covered that one. 3/24, license revoked, concealed. That one. Oh, and then the final one, which is 423/2002, which is a separate charge in 2002, possession of a weapon of mass destruction, class F felony. Seems to be no jail time, is why I'm mentioning these things.
Speaking of which, he has not been charged with attempted murder yet either.
Right. The reason I mentioned this, and the thing that came to mind to me with this is Charles Manson. And you know what I'm talking about, Eric. The fact that they kept arresting Manson for multiple misdemeanors, multiple felonies, and releasing him, as can be described in Tom O'Neill's wonderful book, Chaos, is similar to Manson. That law enforcement kept catching Manson on various probation violations, misdemeanors, grand theft auto, and he was immediately released for reasons that have never been made clear.
There's a giant raid even.
What's that? Yeah, even the largest raid in California history, arresting Manson and his followers, did not lead to his incarceration. This reeks like Manson. And we're not going to talk about Manson with Jonathan Gross because that's outside his purview as a barrister. But maybe at a later date, we'll talk about Manson. We'll also talk about maybe if Jonathan could tell us how he met Richard Nixon, which was kind of an interesting. So we're doing a series on Watergate, Jonathan. That's
yeah.
When you mentioned Nixon last night, I thought, this guy knows Nixon like I know Nixon.
I know Nixon. You wouldn't believe
as well as me. We both know Nixon now.
I was probably about maybe 9 or 10 years old, and I was at I was in Shea Stadium. Is that still around? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think they took it down, brother.
I think so too. But I was in it was Mets v Cardinals, and Tony Pena hit a foul ball from the St. Louis Cardinals. This is probably circa, I don't want to say, and I caught a ball. It was a big thrilling thing. And then Richard Nixon happened to be at the game nearby. And my father took the ball over to him and said, "Mr. President, would you sign it?" And he signed it.
Of course I'd like to sign it, Jonathan.
You
little Jew. Come here. Come here, Jonathan. Let me take a look at you. Look at you, Boychik. You look beautiful. Were you from Long Island originally, or?
No, I'm from Bergen County, New Jersey.
Oh,
Teaneck.
Okay. Teaneck. Oh, yeah. What exit, by the way?
We don't say that in Bergen County. It's a Jersey thing, but Bergen County, we're a suburb of New York. So
I know. No, that's true. I know a lot of people from Bergen. It's quite beautiful up there. Right. Okay. So you weren't a Yankee fan. You had to go to Shea for reasons that.
You know what? I came of age in '86. You couldn't be anything but a Met fan.
Oh, you know what? You're right. That was a golden time for the Mets. Look, I bleed Dodger blue, so I've got.
And I'll tell you, I've in these past years, I've gotten to. I mean, a lot of people know Lenny Dykstra. He hangs around the Jewish community a lot, and he tweets Jewish all the time. By the way,
come on.
Oh yeah. Oh, Lenny Dykstra. He's like right in their sync with the Jewish community.
Explain what a shanda is for the goyim.
Well, first you explain what goyim are, and then
we'll get into that with our friend Viva, who hates the term goyim, by the way. Okay, so Lenny Dykstra, that's a weird connection. How did you go from being a rabbi to being a lawyer? And is it the same thing anyway?
So I always joke and I say that I was a rabbi for about 15 years, and then I decided to leave for a cleaner profession that has a better reputation. So I became a lawyer.
Oh my God. Wait, there's no pension after 15 years from the rabbinical
guild.
You don't get it. Well, the New Jersey Rabbinical Guild or whatever you were.
I was a rabbi for 10 years in Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, come on. I call
myself the chief rabbi of the state of Nebraska. No, I'm serious. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh my God. What did you have, a congregation? You had a congregation?
My book. I wrote 4 books. One of them, here's one. I don't know if you can find them on Amazon. I'm thinking of republishing
them. Eric will find them. Don't worry about it.
It's called Rabbi in the Middle of America. Get it?
Oh Rabbi my God. That's great. That's great.
It's Jewish
portmanteau.
Chief Rabbi of the state of Nebraska.
Wow. So you had a congregation of 4
people.
Yeah.
I was in.
How many did you have? 4, 5 people in the congregation?
Yeah. Sometimes if people came in from out of town, mostly it was just me and the cows.
That's funny. That's funny. So you were a part-time mohel, you said, out in Nebraska, right? Is that true?
No. I was a rabbi, and I did that for many years, and we decided to move back to the East Coast, where my wife's family is from, and I'm based in Baltimore, Maryland now. where my wife's family's from. And I just, when I was in college already, it was between rabbi and lawyer, and I decided to follow in my grandfather's path. My grandfather was a rabbi for about 50 years in New Jersey, and my mother's father, and he was Jackie Mason's older brother.
I was just thinking about Jackie Mason.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Really
so Jackie
funny
Mason was my uncle. Jackie Mason was my great uncle.
Get out of here. That's insane.
Yeah. In fact, I'll introduce you for your show. You could have my cousin Sheba, Jackie Mason's son, Sheba Mason. She's a comedian.
Oh my God. That's, because I knew Jackie. I produced stuff off Broadway and different things, comedy, HBO and things
Uncle
of that
Jackie.
nature. Wow. And he was a part-time cantor also?
Nah, he always said that was part of his act.
Oh, okay. All right. That's funny because he brought in his future wife to a show I produced Mambo Mouth with John Leguizamo. And he showed up and he said, I hear you got a funny Puerto Rican in there. I'm not happy. He's funnier than me. I don't even want to see this show. She made me come here. So
everybody does a Jackie Mason impression.
Well, of course. But he really said that. And he came out on the break. I said, what is it, Jackie? Is it too? He goes, there's no air conditioning in there. I don't like it. And he said, but then he said, the fact of the matter is she's trying to rope me into marrying her. I don't want to marry her and I can't take it anymore. And I said, well, you got to do what you got to do. But he used to say he was a cantor, but I never really believed him.
Yeah. So nope. But yep, that's my claim.
Okay, so you become a lawyer. How do you get roped in on this J6 thing? I don't know. How does that?
Well, I graduated law school in 2019.
From where? You went to Fordham or something, or?
No, I went to University of Baltimore.
Oh, okay, right on.
I was a rabbi for 2 years in Baltimore then I left the rabbi business, and I went to law school. I was rabbi. I went to the University of Baltimore, graduated in 2019, and I worked in litigation. And it was 2022, and my wife and I were sitting at the Shabbos table, and we were praying. The kids had gone to bed, and we were praying for the January 6ers. We said, this is outrageous. It's so obvious.
It's so obvious.
It's so obvious what's going on.
I know.
And we were praying for them, and we said, this is horrifying what's going on. And by the way, in those days, my gosh, that was 2 years ago. Since then, they've arrested another 1,000.
Explain this to Eric. Yeah, tell us the numbers again. Tell us the numbers.
It's just about to hit the you know how like you walk into the store, you're the 1 millionth customer.
Yeah,
they're about to hit 1,500. What
does the 1,500th person get? A trip?
Yeah,
to
I know,
Europe?
right? Yeah, exactly. It was 1,491 last I checked. 6 cases were unsealed on Friday. 6 cases. Wow. I mean, it's outrageous. So it was so obvious to me and my wife, and we were sitting around and we were praying, and so we turned our eyes to our Father in heaven. I said, somebody has to do something. Why isn't anybody doing something? So my wife said to me, she just looked at me and she said, you have to. And she encouraged me to, I quit my job. And I didn't know anyone at the time, but God really led me in all kinds of directions until I ended up in my first case. And now I've represented as counsel of record a lot. I don't want to say how many, but a number. And I get calls from all over the country every single day, from every state. You wouldn't believe it. From Arkansas, Alabama, Montana, Minnesota. I mean, I'm just naming the ones
that they're coming after them. These are new cases.
These are new cases. These are people who, like just haven't gotten good advice or, don't know what to do. They've heard about me and they just there's hope. Oh, maybe somebody can help us. I mean, what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? I don't, honestly, I was on Greg Kelly. God should bless him. What a wonderful guy.
Great guy. Great guy.
And my gosh. And anyway, he had me on the show and I used it to just say, if there are other attorneys out there, I want people who've made their money already. Like, where is somebody like Alan Dershowitz?
I know.
By name.
It's shocking.
He's probably a multi-millionaire.
Yes, I agree.
Nobody's hiring him anyway because he found out that all the people that, the liberals that he liked to live with in Martha's Vineyard. Alan, if you're listening, no offense. I have all your books on my shelf over here.
Me too.
I'm
a huge fan.
But he's got to be a multi-millionaire. Like, just stop what you're doing and get involved in what is the single largest injustice in all of American history.
I agree.
There are people who've been, more or less, unjustly charged. But the idea that they take a class of 1,500 people, use Congress to do this ridiculous select committee, which was like a Stalinist show trial, then the media just, brainwashing people that these people are insurrectionists and whatever.
It's insane. It's insane.
And then all these sentences and relentlessly chasing after. I have a client, 75-year-old lady. She is like, 5 feet tall, doesn't weigh 90 pounds, soaking wet. You know what I mean? She's like, what do they want from this lady 3-4 years later? It's ridiculous.
There's got to be justice. There's got to be a day. Even after you're done, even after this thing plays out, there's got to be retribution to these people who did this.
Restitution, exactly.
Restitution and retribution,
Yeah.
both. I mean, justice has to be brought to bear upon them so this never happens again.
And our system has to be changed to
Absolutely.
allow this. There's a case called United States v. Armstrong. It's a Supreme Court case that essentially says that prosecutors have unlimited, absolute discretion to charge whoever they want. And the judge, basically, unless they don't even say what the standard is for selective prosecution.
Right.
There's no standard. So essentially, every time you say selective prosecution, it's so obvious, Your Honor. Why do I have to explain this to you? Black Lives Matter. They're blowing up the country all over the place. People are sitting on TV, hundreds of people watching buildings burning down. There's a CNN clip that I put in all my selective prosecution briefs where Don Lemon, whatever his name was. Lemon. So he's sitting there and he's inside and there's a guy outside and he's like, so why aren't the, police responding to that police station that's burning down? And the guy on the ground is like, oh, Dom, the police know that it's either lose the building or lose our lives. That's his words. They're not going to go near that crowd. They're just going to let it burn. And they're doing that. And the guy says on the ground, he's like, and they're doing that down the block. There's a financial building that's burning down. And the cops are like, we're not touching this. So all those people should absolutely be convicted of 18 U.S.C. 231A3, which is obstructing a police officer during a civil disorder. It's a federal crime that carries 5 years in jail. And they charged January 6ers who did nothing with that. They have them on camera for a split second, like this way. And got him, 5-year felony. It's so obvious. You know what I mean? It's like it's a joke.
And what about the change of venue? Is that
don't get me started on the change.
I don't want to get you started, but I have to mention.
No, I'll get started all you want. Oh, believe me, my wife says that we only get invited to dinner parties once. All I need to hear is one word about J6, and I'm like done.
Well, you're welcome to my limited Shabbos meals anytime. I'll tell you that.
So I like to get started. So if I had
but the change of venue, they just
change of venue. So we file it in every case.
Yeah.
And the first one was a study done by the public defenders. And that one, it showed that 96% of Washington, D.C. voted for Joe Biden. Yeah. 96% in 2020. Wow. There's no other district like that in the country. Wow. Like that. Actually, if you're a fair-minded person, you say that's ridiculous. Yeah. So they say, no. So they did a different study. This was done by a bunch of other people. I don't want to attribute it to the wrong people. Hopefully I'll come back and I'll give you the right people. But essentially they did an amazing study that I could send you. It had to do with internet engagement. Ooh. Not just like what people were shown, but what they engaged with on the internet. And they're able to track that based on all kinds of analytics. And they had expert testimony. And it shows how Washington, D.C. is marketed to and engages with January 6th media more than anywhere else in the country by a magnitude.
So it's an obsession. It's like an obsession for them.
Well, I think also that there is an agenda. I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but I think I'm in the right place for that. But
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
There is an agenda, I believe, to weaponize the juries and to really to brainwash them so that they see it more than, there's no reason. In fact, you don't want to show it outside of DC. Because enough people ask the question, like, wasn't that like 4 years ago? Like, really? My city right now, I live in Baltimore. It's like, it's like Afghanistan out there. So you say to yourself, this is what the feds are doing 4 years later?
Oh, yeah. You're just talking about the actual use of their power is insane.
And their time and their money. Did you see today
the whole
that guy?
thing.
I was on show tonight. They featured this video from this guy named Kaufman, from New Hampshire. Did you see this video?
No.
He the FBI showed up at his house. He pulls out his phone.
Oh, I did see it. Yes, I did see it.
They wanted to know about internet activity.
Yeah, I saw that.
Media posts.
I saw that. Yeah, just like it's like UK. It's like UK now. That's what they're doing in the UK.
I know they don't care about that. The rest of the city, cartels and drugs and child trafficking and sex trafficking and they're letting all that go.
Somebody has to take down Merrick Garland. This is the top dog.
It's not just Merrick Garland. It goes.
I know, but you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. I mean,
well, who's going to start? What do you mean? There's
when he's out of when he's out of office. At some point he's going to be out of office.
Mark, the only one we can turn to is our Father in heaven.
Oh no, that's
it. There's nothing. I fight J6 not because I think I'm going to win. I mean, I'm going to zealously advocate to the fullest extent of the law that I'm going to do. But I know that there's nothing that's going to convince these DC juries. And I do this because I want my clients to know that somebody's fighting for them. And I call out to God, say, look at this. Yeah. What's going on here?
Yeah. No, I mean, we need God to help us out in this thing because we're clearly at wit's end. We've clearly exhausted all legal remedies. We've clearly done as much as we can as human beings. The footwork has been done. You got to turn it over to God and get out of your own way, to use some vernacular. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've been praying for them every day since this happened. I mean, but still, they're faith without works is dead.
Yeah. You got it.
No, I mean, you got it. I mean, you say that, but I mean, it really is true. I mean, we still got to go through the footwork. To make sure.
In the end of the day, though, when God saves us from this, which He will, it's going to be in a way that, like in Egypt, nobody said, we need a ton of frogs to just jump all over the place. Nobody said that. Right. God did it in a way that nobody could imagine, and that's
He's got a lot more access to frogs than we do. So let's face it. This guy.
I feel like we could use a plague of frogs.
We need a locust. I don't know where he gets locust all the time, and what else did he have? He had some sort of boils.
Boils, that was a good
boils. Where do you get all those boils from? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he's got. He comes up.
There's not enough boils around.
Every one of those plagues. Every one of them had it.
How many were there? How many plagues were there, Rabbi? 12?
No, there were 10. 10 plagues.
Oh, 10. I'm sorry. Right, 10
That's
plagues.
Okay.
Well, we could use 10 plagues right now.
What? Yeah, we
could use 10 of them right now.
And the plagues, what we're told is that in the Torah itself, we're told that they were targeted. They only hit the perpetrators.
I meant to ask you that. Were they targeted, the plagues?
Yes, it's straight up in the Torah. They were targeted. Absolutely.
I didn't know that. I thought
it says that in Eretz Goshen, where the Jews were, there was.
Hold on, let me write this down. Goshen targeted plagues. Very good.
Not in Goshen. Everywhere but Goshen.
Everywhere but Goshen. Right on. Okay, because there's a Goshen, New York.
Goshen, New York. I know it well.
I knew you were going to mention
near
Goshen,
Jericho.
You got to go to the Red Apple rest stop to get to Goshen, New York. Only people upstate Alan would know as a state trooper who watches our show.
I had an idea for a book. I wanted to travel the country to all the biblical places and research why they came up with the names.
That's a great idea, names. By the way. Okay, where can we find your books? Let me just put this because
links are in the description.
I'll tell you my bestseller.
Tell me the bestseller. We'll put it up. We'll sell a lot of them. Some guy sold 3,000 books just coming on the show one day.
Oh, really? Oh, then wait, I better do it.
Go ahead. Why don't you come back in about 20 minutes with an answer because it's a live show. We don't really need you here at this time. Where are you going?
Anyway, I got links to two of his books in the description.
Oh, what'd you find?
The one that you held up, and then another one that looks like a cartoon book or something. Or
this one right here.
That one, yeah.
All right, so this is called IVA, Jewish Thoughts on Thinking Machines, and that one's good. It's basically years ago I became obsessed with robots, and I was afraid that they were going to take over the world. They were going to invent robots that are going to be just like humans because that's what all the movies told us. And then I realized that's stupid. And they're just trying to trick us. Robots are stupid. They're not real. They're not going to take over the world. We're all fine. And that's what this book's about. It's more serious than the cover. I designed the cover, but it's more serious than the cover suggests. Somebody just told me I need to change the cover. And then look up, type in Jonathan Gross, Warren Buffett. That's my bestseller.
Oh, okay.
That one I sell a ton of.
Interesting.
The other ones, I think, I hope that you don't have the wrong copy for this one. Somebody pilfered this one, and there's it's on the internet. I don't get if it has like a different cover. It's not mine. So
it was the cover you showed.
Oh, good. Then it's mine. I don't even know if I get whatever it is. So
tell us where we could find you on Twitter, and then
Twitter JON_GROSS.
JON_GROSS.
At John Gross. Yeah, no H.
At
in that,
John Gross on Twitter.
But
Okay.
on my Warren Buffett book, I'll just tell you that one quickly.
Go ahead.
I had a relationship with Warren Buffett.
What do you mean a relationship? You mean
well,
a gay?
So I don't know if you know this, but so he writes in his annual letter, he says, if you have an idea for a business, then reach out to me. But he has this funny thing where he says, but if the phone don't ring, you'll know it was me. That's his thing.
That's funny.
So a lot of people, they send him ideas, but I said to him, Mr. Buffett, I actually have an idea. I said to him, I don't know if you know this, but there's a biblical ban on leaven products, what we call chametz, on the holiday of Passover. You're not allowed to have any cookies or cakes or anything like that. And there's a practice that to be really strict on it, we don't only not eat it, but we actually sell it. So we sell all of our leaven products, our chametz, we sell to a non-Jewish person.
Wait, we sell it or we give it away?
We sell it because let's say you have $100.
I've been giving it away for years.
No. You have $100 bottle of scotch. That's leaven. You can't have that.
All right.
So to be strict, we don't want to even own it. So we do it's not a symbolic sale. It's a real sale where the congregation sells their chametz to a non-Jewish person.
Just to break in the action. If you're just tuning in, this is Talking with Jews on America's Stories. Go on, Jonathan. Go ahead.
So basically, we sell everything, and usually, they'll honor some non-Jewish person who's been friendly to the community. And he'll be the designee where you do a real official sale. Everybody gives all their stuff to the rabbi and you sign a contract. And then the rabbi has an official sale to the non-Jewish person.
Wow.
And then you buy it back at the end of the holiday. And usually you add like $50 or something, or some kind of ceremonial, expressive gratitude. It's a way to thank a person who was nice to the community. So the person who buys the chametz. So I said, listen, it's a great deal. It's a risk-free arbitrage. We're desperate to sell at the beginning of the holiday, and we're desperate to buy it back. So we do it. It's been working all over the country, all over the world for years, for millennia. So Warren Buffett.
What about the Hoffy Coleman? I'm still trying to get money out of my grandfather.
Warren Buffett liked the idea, and he became the person that we sold our chametz to. So you Google it. It's like national news. But anyway. When I started to get to know him and I would talk with him, and he was so generous with his time and he's a wonderful guy. So I wrote a book to honor him that he has 13 principles of investing. And I demonstrate how each of those 13 principles is actually an ethical and moral principle that you can learn from that's based in Torah values. So that's my book. It's called Values Investing. In Omaha, Rabbi Learns Torah from Warren Buffett.
Wow.
And, you can find it.
Great. I gotta read that.
Links are in the description. They're in the description.
I'm going to get the book. I'm going to read the book, and then we're going to bring you back to explain the book.
Oh yeah, I'd love to talk about that one. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that one. But right now, you got to get back and get these people out of jail. So I don't want to keep you any longer. But will you come back and visit us?
And you're a friend of Alex Stein.
Stein is who is not a Jew, by the way. I just learned
Who's not a Jew
last night. You broke my heart. But you're saying Stein is a Jewish impersonator?
No, he's very clear about it. Even though Wikipedia, no matter how much you change it, they keep making him a Jew. But he's not a Jew. He was not raised a Jew. He doesn't claim to be a Jew. Never did. No stolen valor for Alex Stein.
I feel bad because I feel
bad he's not a Jew also.
But I called him Jew face on DMing. We were going back and forth. He didn't respond that he wasn't a Jew face, and I was kidding with him. Oh my! I'm embarrassed now.
Yeah. So
all right. So Alex Stein, not a Jew. You're a Jew. We have you. You're an attorney. You're going to try to get these J6ers off. And please. And can you come back and tell us if you had any success?
Anytime you want. Well, no, I'll come back anyway. There will no.
All right. Thank you, Bubby.
Only success will come when God should bless. And listen, I don't care what anybody in your audience thinks about Donald Trump. It doesn't matter. The fact is, if Donald Trump was doing this to others, if he rounded up all the Black Lives Matter people, I would have been a Black Lives Matter attorney, and I would say vote for anyone but him. But he didn't do that. And now Joe Biden's doing that. So if you're a liberal out there, I'm a liberal. Yeah. If you're a liberal out there,
just keep it down.
No, if you are a liberal-minded person,
what do you keep saying liberal for? Why do you keep saying that?
They have co-opted that word.
I know.
They're not liberal.
Hold on. Dershowitz has left. Dershowitz has left the Democrats.
But he's still a liberal. He's what Jonathan is saying. He's still a liberal.
He's a liberal guy
With a different party
He's an
affiliation.
honest-minded person. We'd like to see.
I'm
But
a
anyway,
liberal.
my point is that everybody should vote for Donald Trump because that's the only way this madness will end. That not because of him, because of God, but that's one way it can end. That God can bring it about. So if everybody will vote for him, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, Kanahara. Wow, was that wild? Holy cow!
I'm lost.
No, that was just
I'm
great.
in the corner here. Whatever.
Wow. You learned a lot, didn't you, Hunley?
No. just trying to keep my head together. So let me get some more super chats in here. John S. agrees Trump needs to win, and I thank you for your efforts to give him support.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean S. Grip Van Wrinkled, which sounds almost like an obscenity. Shots fired, Trump tackled, so no comms upon spotting barrel.
What does that mean?
I don't know. He probably heard the shot.
Shots fired by the Secret Service. Yeah. Was he tackled again?
No, he was tackled. Yeah. Apparently,
this guy's going to be like a tackling dummy. I mean, he's going to get bruised just from the tackling. Remember Reagan? I think they broke his rib.
Well, they shot. He was shot there, and they thought that they might have broke a rib, but when they were jostling him, they did jam up.
I think they broke the
wound.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Frau Featherstone, thank you. TQ44, the binary explosive or binary. Okay, binary is possibly a big deal. It's two separate explosives mixed together. A much larger explosives, two separate explosives mixed together. Okay.
He's saying it's two together, so he repeated the sentence twice to show you the binary angle of the story.
The sentence itself.
Yeah, so he's binary writing it twice to give us the look. I don't know about the 10-inch detonation cord. I don't know about the blasting cap. But if you're charged with having a weapon of mass destruction, how are you rolling around from Maui to Kiev to Romania to North Carolina to West Palm Beach? Where is, by the way, on his LinkedIn page, which I looked at very closely, he has it was last night. The LinkedIn page talks about, which I put all of it on Twitter. If you want to follow me at Lord Buckley, you could see it in my Twitter feed. I copied and pasted his description of his eco movement that he has of building eco homes out of Maui for the homeless as an eco warrior. And the LinkedIn page, the amount of money he makes a year is $3,000 a year that he's saying he makes so far from this nonprofit. How is he financing these trips, Hunley? How is he going to Kiev? How is he living for months in that hotel where he was interviewed, not by some nut job, but Newsweek? Was it? Yeah, I think this is it, right? Yeah. This is his LinkedIn page. If you read that about thing, that's what I put on Twitter, that description right there.
Well, they took down all of his other social media, so I thought this was interesting.
No, that was left. That was left. I looked at that day one, the day of the shooting.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was still up there, and I copied and pasted as much as I could because the copy and paste will stop the deletion of the thing. If you just post someone's account, that could disappear. I recommend copying and pasting to anyone.
Well, I'm going to archive it.
Or archive, I don't know what Eric does, but my technique is to copy and paste. Now, this chick, Sue Kim, that we were talking about is MLLE, at MLLE Sue Kim, one word. That's the Twitter account of his CIA connection. MLLESOOKIM.
Can you tell slowly until you get in? I'll look at it again. MLL what?
MLLESOOKIM.
There we go. Protected.
Thank you. Yeah.
Rand Corporation. We like them.
Yeah.
So we have a Secret Service agent going around with somebody who works with them.
Yeah. So this Rand Corporation goes back, obviously based in Santa Monica. But the reality of it is that's where Daniel Ellsberg worked. That's where the Pentagon Papers originated from, written by Leslie Gelb and a guy named Morton Halpern, who is the father of David Halpern, who was caught in the Admiral Zumwalt spy ring stealing documents from Henry Kissinger. That's David Halpern. His brother's, of course, Mark Halpern from Newsmax. There's connections that go all the way back to Rand Corporation is the reason I'm mentioning these people. And still to this day, we have Sue Kim as the CIA connection for this shooter or potential shooter. Make what you want out of it. There's a lot of meat on that bone.
Yeah, it's the opposite of crooks. I mean,
yeah, there was
so
nothing
much was
crooks.
rolling out. So much was rolling out. It was like it felt like a resume coming out, like a press release. It was so much information.
I mean, this guy.
Yeah. And it kind of makes me wonder. I don't know about you, but they're getting desperate here. Is it like
okay? All right. So here's what
do a boy's job or whatever.
No, but here's what Barnes and Barris was saying. I recommend you see their show Inside the Numbers on Monday, which was yesterday. No, they get into the history of polling. It might be a little bit inside the weeds for a lot of people, but what Barris and Barnes are saying is that inside these numbers are unbeatable polling numbers for Trump, that these things are not beatable at this point. Barris saying this, and you can take it for what it's worth, but my take on it is the longer this goes on, the more they're going to resort to violence to take out Trump, because they cannot beat him, and they know this inside the polling. So the switcheroo didn't work, the court cases didn't work, the jailing didn't work, and now the bankruptcy didn't work, the jailing of his friends didn't work, and now they're going to physically keep sending these nonstop dog whistles, Eric, because that's what they are, to take them out, Eric. And there's enough psychos, there's enough people around like this particular guy who is willing to do this. So they do not have to put together a top-down physical plot like they did in Dallas. In this particular case, once you have the shoddy Secret Service protection that has been exposed, those statements in that press conference would have been the same if Trump was killed or not killed, Eric. That's what's so creepy about it. The statements that they've been making are almost as if they were written either way. For not having been killed, I mean, listen to Goldman. Listen to Goldman. Play this.
Unquestionable at this point that man cannot see public office again. He is not only unfit, he is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated. Unquestionable.
Okay, so when you say that, right, this is a terrorist threat against a former president of the United States. He needs to be arrested. I know this sounds draconian, but there's no other way to spin this at this point. You can't have elected officials, celebrities, comics, specifically elected officials, calling for the elimination of a man who is running for office against your leader. There are terrorist laws against this. Now, this guy is not going to enforce it. And I say Merrick Garland is this guy. We need an attorney general in a red state to issue an arrest warrant for this man. I know it sounds harsh, but something's got to give here, folks. Something's got to give. If you arrest one of them and prosecute one of them, the rest will shut the fuck up, okay? And the dog whistles will stop. If you do not stop these dog whistles, it's going to be one nut after another. Look how quickly Hillary Clinton came out calling for his elimination the next day. Look how quickly Rachel Maddow came out. They didn't skip a beat. They didn't skip a beat because they know that if they keep this up with crackpot after crackpot after crackpot, someone's going to land the fatal blow. And that's what they want. That's what they want. It's out in the open now. The only thing we can do is go at them legally now. to take down the people issuing the terrorist threats, because that's what they are. They should have gone after Chuck Schumer. They didn't do it. They should have gone after a lot of people. But the only ones who can do this now are red state attorney generals.
Yeah, it's a typical confession through projection, but they love to talk about, quote, Trump's rhetoric and that it's stochastic terrorism. I can never say the word.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what they're doing. You just saw that. You
literally
saw a very specific.
Right. We're hip to it. We're hip to it. Now, what do you do? The question is, how do you stop it? Because we can't just do nothing for 2 more months. They're just going to keep coming, Eric. And what I recommend is they have to indict them. And whether you're prosecuting them, physically incarcerate them, I don't know. But somebody like Paxton out of Texas, or somebody like DeSantis, who I understand is refusing to turn over the Ruth to the feds, by the way. Did you hear this story? DeSantis is refusing to turn them over to the feds. We need the Attorney General of the state of Florida to indict these people who are on television doing this. Whether they can physically get at them is another question. But you have to push back against these people. They have to be indicted for terrorist threats against the president. I'm sorry. I know it sounds harsh, sarcastically, but nevertheless, something's got to give here.
Well, what would they do in the reverse?
Right. Absolutely.
I mean,
just think, bring me in to think like them, and I'll tell you what they would do in the reverse.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of obvious. We see what they're doing right now. We see that they're very happy to have every court case, I mean, they go after a president. Even when the Supreme Court said, immunity, they're like, oh, well, Jack Smith, I'll rewrite the charges and put it back in again.
I'll go to the same grand jury I go to. They all know me there. They call me Uncle Jackie. I'll go in there. I bring in sandwiches, and they seem to love me. The point of the matter is, you could do nothing. You could do nothing, and they think you're going to do nothing. So they are jacking up these dog whistles on steroids now, because they know that they have a ticking clock to get him. Because of their internal polling numbers, say that she is going to lose those battleground states, and she's going to lose Pennsylvania, and this may be a landslide electorally, and he may be ahead in the popular vote. The thing about the popular vote is that it shows you a snapshot in time for the other states. And he's apparently, according to 2 of the top polling firms that are legit, Trafalgar and Alien, I forget the name of the other one, Alien. He's leading in the for the first time in national polling, and maybe by 5 points, which is enormous. But they have their own internal polling. Their crackpot scheme of swapping out the brain dead cat for this woman of color is apparently not working. So now it's full on assassination dog whistles.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's put it this way. If he does win this and he gets a popular vote and he gets a margin, that means he's not only reelected, but with a mandate.
Yeah, it may be Nixonian, and that's what they're really afraid of, is a Nixonian mandate, like in 72. That's their fear, and that's why November 26th is so important, because pushing back that date from the 18th was because they wanted to seed the playing field on November 26th. People think this was a victory for Trump. It was not. It was their desire to have more information on what to do with him on November 26th.
Also the gag order.
And they have the gag orders, which was upheld by the...
Right, so he still can't talk.
The gag order is upheld by the Supreme Court of the state of New York, which is the appellate court in New York State. So they still have that. But the jailing of him, the incarceration on November 26th, is still hovering enormously large in my political view.
All right. Well, let me get to some more super chats here. Joseph Fabry. Thank you, gentlemen, for all you do. Thank you, Joseph. S.E. Gittins. Mark, biblical justice is adhered to by your Catholic traditionalists as well. Justice for evil is an eye for an eye. Love you both.
Okay, cool.
Abraham.
Because I know there's that turn the other cheek thing among some of our evangelical friends, which is driving me insane right now.
It's both. Yeah, we will be talking about that.
We're going to talk about that after the super chats.
For sure. I mean, that's a huge story.
That's a great story.
Stephen McMahon, retired police still in great shape would volunteer to guard Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Maybe they do it for nothing. And what would Ruth Payne say?
I don't want them guarding the president at this point. I've ordered a rifle. I hope it comes in the mail.
And by the way, not only retired police, but retired military. I mean, the snipers, the Lins of the world, there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
Cat Mama, there's a vigil every night for 2 years now.
Right on. Good.
Christine Huff, Trump 24, thank you. Cat Mama, there's a visual outside the gulag every night for almost 2 years now. Several streamers cover it. National anthem every night at 8 o'clock around back so the prisoners can hear them.
Oh, right.
Did not know that.
Did not know that. Thank you.
That is good.
That's wonderful. Thanks for covering it in the mainstream media.
Diaphanic 1, a blasting cap might work with tannerite, maybe.
I don't know. I really don't know why he had. Okay, I just want to say the guy has a horse living in his living room. Okay, this is a normal house with a horse in it, with a neighbor who, for some reason, has purple hair and is a black woman who has known him for 20 years and thinks he's the hottest guy she's ever met. That's a little strange, but he seems to pay her. And he's got like a daughter in there. Someone's living there, but the woman gets paid to watch his house and says he's the greatest guy ever.
He's a cowboy.
Yeah.
Basil Beshkov, FBI has many wackos under surveillance, and if one falls through the cracks, oopsies.
Yeah, I mean, the FBI interfaced with this guy Ruth a couple of years back over the gun felony charges of being a felon with a weapon. The person who called them on it did not follow up, according to the FBI. But once again, he's on the radar. But I think everybody's on their radar now. If everybody's on their radar, they're going to know everything. Anytime anybody's arrested, they're going to go, "Hey, we interviewed him 7 years ago."
Yeah, good point. We'll get to more super chats later, but before that, I want to plug the wonderful substance that I drink every day, and that is our America's Untold Supreme Breakfast Blend Coffee.
Whoa.
Now, I've thought about it, and I keep talking about, hey, people really love this coffee, and they're leaving great reviews, everything else, and I've realized, well, hey, don't listen to me, listen to the review.
Mm-hmm.
We have here a review from Jonathan M. saying, AUS Supreme Breakfast Blend. Comment, simply the best morning coffee in the whole world. My wife spent 45 years hating coffee, and now she drinks this coffee black. It's as smooth as anything. Buy this coffee and support a veteran company. The best source of true information on America's Untold Stories with Eric and Mark, and your taste buds every morning. Drink it black or add some milk and sugar. Just like the truth from AUS, it will hit you in the brain and wake you up. I love this coffee. Come on, Bobby, just buy it. You won't be disappointed. So, as I said, it made more sense to me to tell you from other people. These are reviews from people who are checking it out. And while you're there, you don't have to only get America's Untold Stories Breakfast Blend. You can get like Blackbeard's Grog, who he also reviewed, and many other flavored coffees. They have a raspberry blend that Leslie has been enjoying of late as well. So definitely, please check it out. It does help the show out. It helps out a veteran roaster who literally just had a part go down on the roaster and just got it back in order. So he's a small business, really trying to keep things together, and buying the coffee really, really helps. So let's talk about some pagers.
Oh, yeah, that's a weird one. That's here's your Mossad, people. You're always hawking me about the Mossad. This is the Mossad. This is how they work. I know you think it's a crazy organization, but telephone call for a Hamas. Telephone, Hamas, Bungalow 12. Maybe you could blow that up a little bit.
I can't do it. I can't. Yeah.
It's too blow-uppy.
Yeah, YouTube won't like it. From what I understand, though, they took out the Hezbollah leader with the cell phone. So Hezbollah said, get rid of the cell phones, buy pagers.
Yeah.
And what's the rest of it?
You got to, in the video, which you can watch, it's on the New York Post. It's everywhere now. It's showing them some security cameras seeing their pagers blow up simultaneously all over the region there. It's a fantastic victory from Assad in fighting back against these savages.
Yeah, I mean, apparently thousands have been injured.
3,000, I think. They killed 9. I think with the numbers, there's 9 dead and 3,000 injured. It's not bad for a small device. I mean, how much can you pack into it, Eric?
Well, no, it's actually well done, because if they put more in there, it would harm other people who may not actually be. Whereas this is nicely directed. Like, if you have this pager, you're part of this crew. If you don't have the pager, you're probably going to be safe.
Yeah. I mean, it's a brilliant strategy on fighting back. I mean, that's the stuff you really got to appreciate. The cell phone thing was great. The blowing up of the cell phones, that was brilliant. I don't know if they swapped out his cell phone or how that happened, but you're right. They switched to pagers, and now the Mossad has struck again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they saw. It's like you need to check your source when you buy your damn pagers.
Right. Well, I don't know where
they put 20 grams of an explosive in each
nitroglycerin, maybe, or
I forgot the name. It was like Temite or something. I don't remember the name of it.
Maybe thermite. Maybe thermite.
Yeah, I don't remember it's an explosive. Is PETN.
Okay. PETN. Okay.
Never mind. I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
PETN, but it's a explosive, and they had 20 grams in each one.
Wow.
And that's effective. Also, the simultaneous. I mean, think of the psychological warfare that is.
Absolutely.
Too.
It's much. That's the reason I was mentioning. It's much more psychologically damaging. They don't give a shit that they lost these people. They could care less. But the psychological damage is good.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's widespread too. It's like everybody. And now they're going to be walking around.
There's so many left. This is the most ineffective genocide in American history or world history, because it's been very ineffective.
Yes, usually populations don't double.
Yes, populations don't double. Yes, or as Bobby Kennedy called it, the most pampered world ethnic group receiving aid around the world. Of all the ethnic groups, they're in the hierarchy of pampering based on the sheer volume of money they've received in human aid.
Well, I mean, it's sure made some leaders very, very wealthy, billionaires.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
all right, what else you got over there in your?
All right, well, let's go and jump something a little bit different or lighter, but Jane's Addiction. Don't know how many people here are fans of the band Jane's Addiction, back from the late 80s, early 90s. Big time band there. They were weren't they at Woodstock 99 and
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but I mean, everybody knows Jane's Addiction. I mean, Dave Navarro's been around for years. Perry Farrell, just a great video. Farrell obviously was carrying gallons of wine around all day and was having vocal problems. Even at the show in New York, which kicked off the tour, I guess they haven't played together in 13 years or something. There was sound problems, not sound problems, but his voice. He had vocal issues with his voice and was complaining. And then this thing happened where people in the front row, this is up in Boston, were telling him in the front row they couldn't hear him. And he flipped out and attacked Dave Navarro. And I know Dave Navarro, he's clean and sober, and Perry Farrell's not. And Perry Farrell was drunk. And they put out a statement canceling the tour, saying that because of the mental issues of Perry Farrell, they were being nice. We don't feel safe on stage with him, so we're canceling the tour. Interestingly enough, Avery, the bass player, got him in a headlock, took him backstage, and punched him in the stomach 3 or 4 times as hard as he could. And his wife, Perry Farrell's wife, said he got in some cheap shots. And I thought, well, everybody hates the lead singer in every band that I've ever been involved or known. Everybody hates the lead singer because they're usually narcissists and egomaniacs. So the bass player figured he's never going to see this guy again. Decided this is the time I'm going to take advantage of him and beat the living shit out of Farrell, who is not a well-liked member of that band.
Well, his wife, the way she described it was funny though, because she was talking about the bass player taking cheap shots, but then she kind of disparaged on Perry too by saying that he was just hysterical and broke down crying like she almost said little bitch. But it came across that way with what she wrote. And I know Dave Navarro not only from that but Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, sure, of course,
lead guitarist there.
Yeah,
and then he was. I don't know if people remember this show, but in Excess had a reality TV show to replace the lead singer Michael Hutchence, who died tragically while self-pleasuring apparently, and he was one of the hosts on that show as well. So.
No, everybody knows Navarro out here because he's a visible cat, but Farrell is 65 years old now and still guzzling wine. Something's going to give.
Yeah, he seemed to have issues. I mean, and good on them. You could tell Navarro was just kind of like,
dude, he was still playing with one hand as he was punching him in the face. He should be put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame if he's not in there already, just for that.
Well, if you want, everyone wants to, I put it up on Locals too, but on the extended video, you could see that Perry Farrell was out of it. His vocals sucked. They weren't right, and it seems like the band was rushing it back in because they were trying to cover for him. Yeah, and his erratic singing, it appears. So, but I don't know. Oh, what a mess. All right, I'm going to share this story. This is like a public service story, but I think it's good for everybody to check out. This woman talked about how every night they go to bed, right?
Weird.
And what they do before they go to bed is start the dishwasher.
My mother used to do that. That's what my mother did.
Oh, exactly. Well, this is the result. She ran the dishwasher. Jesus. They were up in the bed. Smoke alarm went off. They were able to at least get down and see this going on and save the family. But a piece of advice to everybody: don't run the dishwasher. Apparently, like when you're going to bed. Or when you're leaving the house, because it is an actual danger. And I did not know that. This is something that
I didn't know that either.
We do a lot of is, it makes sense. You run it at night, especially Mark, you're in California. You're like, okay, you use less power at night and you run the dishwasher because you don't have the AC or whatever going on. So,
well, I don't have a dishwasher, but my mother back east used to do it. And when we went to bed, and then you wake up in the morning and got clean dishes. So I know a lot of people used to do that.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's why I wanted to share that is,
it's a good one.
Story like that.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay. Now here's a interesting one. You remember our friend, Leonel Moreno, the Venezuelan migrant influencer on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody to raid.
Yeah.
Well, he's been officially ordered deported, but we can't get rid of him because Venezuela isn't taking people.
Oh, they're closed. They're closed for the day.
They're closed. And, with an ass like this, I kind of feel like saying, give him a kitted boat, put him on it and say, go find your way somewhere else. I don't care.
Right. Put him out in the sea. Like, send him to the island of Elba. Maybe we can have an island where we just send these people persona non grata. They have to live on this island and try to survive.
You know who does that?
Who?
Australia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Australia has this island. No, and people, it's like Gitmo for them.
Yeah.
They catch people coming in. They just throw them on that island. And
that's what Australia was.
About 10 years.
That's what Australia was in relation to England. I mean, that's how that's where they sent their prisoners.
Yeah. Well,
nobody knows. And look at Napoleon. The French sent him to Elba. The island thing, I think, is the way to go. We have to get our own island. Hope it's not Catalina, because I like Catalina. But there's a bunch of islands.
There's other islands.
Yeah, there's other islands these people could be sent to. And we need to make it into a prison island for all these undesirables.
How about Haiti? There's room.
Haiti's got plenty of room. I mean, can you believe what's happening now with Haiti? How this story, because he kept saying they're eating the dogs. I'll tell you something else about the eating the dogs. On the left, they believe that this is the end of his campaign because he said eating the dogs. The clip you played last week was just the beginning of it. Bill Maher went into predicting the end of Trump's candidacy because of the eating the dogs last night, Friday night, specifically citing that as the final death knell of Trump and MAGA, putting an end to it. And they couldn't be more out of touch if they tried. This thing has led to the outing of DeWine as the governor, this fraudulent governor. Here it is.
This night with a prediction because and I think I have the credibility for this prediction because I have been called a Trump alarmist for a very long time. They were wrong. I was right. Yeah. He wasn't going to leave power. Okay.
He wasn't going to leave power ever.
Then,
obviously.
Can we, oh God, I just got an argument with somebody about that. It drives me. It's my biggest pet peeve. And I wish that somebody would just answer with every time they say he'll refuse to relinquish power.
Yeah.
I'll say, who's in the White House?
Right, but I think they're referring to their exaggeration of January 6th.
It doesn't matter. January 20th came along. He didn't stay 1 second, 1 minute. He was gone.
No, it's insane. I'm not trying to defend them, but I think what they're saying is he attempted to stay in power, but it failed. Because I think now, if you notice, the guest on the panel is an old friend of mine named Al Franken. And I think that was Al Franken sitting next to the blonde woman. I could be wrong. Former SNL writer turned performer, turned into a United States senator from the blue state of Minnesota, who I did a lot of narcotics with, who sent us an email before he ran for the Senate saying, if you did drugs with Al Franken, please don't say anything in the media. I remember getting the email. And I didn't say anything at the time, but I think the statute of limitations is over.
He's been Me Too'd. He's done.
Right. But I'm saying he's trying to rehabilitate him. He's back on Bill Maher. And I haven't seen Al since I bumped into him by the Greek a year and a half ago. But look, I don't know what his problem is. But again, another guy with Trump derangement syndrome like Bill Maher.
And since the Hollywood Access tape where he said, I'm going to grab him by the pussy, and he survived that. Every time he's been done crazy shit and gotten himself in trouble, I said, no, it's not over. I've said that. I've argued with people. Brett Stevens, my good friend, he's on the show next week. He said at one point a few years ago, the Trump thing, I said, no. Tonight I'm saying, I think it's over.
It's over.
I just want to bring up an analogy to one person. Even before we were around, there was a guy named Joe McCarthy in the early 50s, and he had a hold on
He's Joe McCarthy. Look at, there's Al. There he is.
Blew out in about 2 years, right? 2-3 years. He was the biggest thing, and then it was just, and I feel like eating the dogs, we're at this point. I feel like we're at the Captain Queeg with the strawberries. We're at Denzel at the end of Training Day. I'm King Kong up here. I just think he's going to lose.
I do not share your confidence in knowing how this is going to go. I mean, I know people don't think that the polls are very accurate. So setting all of that aside, the reality is that people have known Donald Trump and known who he is for a very long time. I mean, you ask people, do you need to know more about these candidates? With Kamala Harris, they say yes. Like 3 in 10 people say, I feel like I need to know more in order to make a decision. But when you ask that about Donald Trump, only a fraction of voters say that they do. And so people know who he is, and yet he's still competitive. You look at these battleground states, they're still 50-50. He's hanging in there.
It'll be tied on Election Day, as always it will. The polls will be tied, and then he'll lose. That's my prediction. We'll see. I'm just saying things aren't until they are. Yeah.
Thank God.
Don't you feel better, Al?
Boy, are they in for an awakening?
Well, he was describing the plan there.
Yeah.
It'll be tied, and then
we'll
keep counting.
Right.
Keep counting. We'll find more. But that's Bill Maher every other week.
According to Barnes and according to Barris, this may be too big to rig. To use their terminology, that the leads are too big. There's too many states. There's too much. There's not enough ballots to go around, and the shooting is much more effective.
Wow.
At this point. But these delusional psychos, I mean, put it this way, when he wins, every city, major blue city in the country will burn. Let me repeat that. When he wins, every major blue city in the country will burn.
All right. Well, on a less fun note here, here we go. RFK Jr.'s bid to withdraw from Wisconsin denied.
Yeah. I look, again, I only blame RFK for this because this could have been done 6 to 12 months ago. And I know I'm beating a dead horse here and I'm blaming the Democrats for doing this, but this could have been avoided a long time ago and not had this mess of him trying to get on or off ballots with 5 seconds left in the game and a couple of free throws at the line to win the championship. Wasn't necessary. Wasn't necessary. He did this. And I'm never going to let it go because I was beating this into our audience for so long on this channel, and only to have him pull the plug on his quixotic idea campaign for the president with 57 days left in the game. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to just let it go. This is a mess he created.
All right. And let me see. You sent me this earlier with Nick Sorter. I think I've been on Twitter Spaces with the guy.
Who is this guy? Sounds familiar.
You sent it. It's he's confirmed.
Oh, this guy. Yeah, this guy's got a great set of balls on him. Watch the guy in the black shirt, the big beefy dude. Unbeknownst to us, the guy that Eric's referring to, Sorter, is going to attempt to interview that chick from MSNBC, and she's going to attempt to make a beeline for the media van, which is on the left of the screen, because she cannot be allowed to answer one question, just to set this up and watch what happens.
So quick question for you real quick. So it seems like a lot of the questions that you were asking, it doesn't seem to like address the issue, the actual issues in the, dude, don't touch me, bro. Don't touch me, bro. No, I'm just asking, like, because there's an increase in crime in the area. It seems like there's a lot more of a problem here. The questions almost seemed like you were trying to turn him into a victim. Do not touch me.
Back up.
Do not touch me.
Dude, back up.
Back up.
Do not back up.
Dude, get the fuck off of me now!
Back up. Back up.
You got to charge this guy with assault.
Gotta be like that. Just back up.
He's got to press
not
charges
fucking touch
against
me,
this
okay?
guy.
Back up.
He's got to press charges against this guy. This can't be allowed to happen with American media at this time. This is a fascist organization. It needs to be brought into some sort of bright light of justice. You cannot have these guys pushing people around, simply asking questions of these girly reporters who were there. Her report was insane. Again, it's about the pet eating in Springfield. They have to be able to ask them questions. He wasn't assaulting her. He wasn't doing anything to her, Eric, as far as I could tell. I don't know what right this burly guy has to push this guy around.
Yeah, I'm not really sure the legality on that or not, if he's security or not security or how does that
work? I mean, you're in plain clothes. You're in plain clothes. You're not identifying as anything. You don't know what this guy is. You're physically putting hands on another American citizen, Eric. I agree. I don't know. What is the deal here? What is the deal here?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're not allowed to start grabbing and shoving somebody simply because you're working for her. What is that guy's role?
True, and I think this is what it was in response to.
Yeah.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio. This weekend, there were new bomb threats in that town. Our Maggie Vespa is in Columbus, Ohio, with more.
Oh, Columbus.
Lester, simply put, Springfield, Ohio has been inundated by threats over the last several days, closing government buildings, schools, hospitals. Today, effectively closing a local university campus after administrators said someone threatened a mass shooting targeting Haitians. This in light of, officials say, a false online conspiracy theory alleging Haitian immigrants in that city are eating people's pets.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid.
Just had to stop.
This is why I wanted to have the media oversight bipartisan committee when Trump gets back into presidency between the House and the Congress, to bring in Lester Holt, to bring in the head of NBC, to confront them about these stories, and then have the other side showing the truth of these stories and have them answer for it. Not just bringing them in, bringing in the people who were involved on the other side of this story, saying, where did you get your information? What did you do to make this report work? And force them in the bright lights of Congress to explain how these stories are put together, these propaganda stories.
Well, I'm also getting tired of loaded terms like spreading baseless claims.
Baseless,
or they'll describe somebody say, known transphobe J.K. Rowling, blah, blah, blah. They slander in their statement as if they're reporting straight news.
You got to get them in
every
Congress.
time.
You have to remind them that the license that they receive from the FCC is a privilege, not a right of the American people. NBC has a license, temporary license from the Federal Communications Commission, which is a privilege from the United States people. That's what's got to be drilled into their head. If they have to suspend their license for 30 days, they might get the message, Eric. But that is the power the FCC has. That is the power that my media oversight committee, joint committee on media, will have.
All right, let me get some more money here. George Orwell, larceny of goods of the value of more than $1,000 is a Class H felony.
Well, it depends where you live. I mean,
and you said it twice. So thank you.
Yeah. In LA, it may or may not be.
Yeah.
There's a ballot initiative to remove.
Well, maybe that was the Class H felony of what you were talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right. I don't know. That was Greensboro, North Carolina. So depending on where you are. So I don't know. That's why I backed off.
Scott Bimbo. Viva has stopped asking the age, but now he Googles their height.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, he was obsessed with people's age for a while. I don't know what that was about.
Well, he doesn't. They don't do sidebar anymore.
Rightfully so. They've been burned so many times. How many? They had Joseph Goebbels' son on one week who said he was Jeff Steinberg. I mean, they've been burned so many times.
Oh well. Dr. Evil, the J6 stop police are coming for you. Yeah.
Hey, bring it on. At this point, who gives a shit? Yeah, that Jackie Mason thing was great. That's man, that is so funny. I didn't even finish that story, which I'm not going to do now, but we kind of had a conversation, Jackie Mason and I. It was kind of funny.
Wow. Pew Pew came in, tried to gift 5 times. Something's wrong. See you folks next time. Work soon. Well, we do appreciate it, Pew Pew. Seriously. Wow. Oh, here we go. Mark 10 bought the book of something paste from Amazon, order place. Thanks. Confirmation we sent your email, shipping to Kenneth H. Hit the like button, everyone.
Oh, very good. You know, you could subscribe to the channel. I know it's fucking insane.
Hold on. Everybody get your fanfare ready. We crossed 116,000 today.
Big fucking deal. No, big deal. I mean, I know he's joking, but I mean, we had 100,000. It took a year and a half. We've got 16,000 in over a year. You tell me there's a problem. We are the J6ers of YouTube, me and Hunley.
Seems that way. So, yeah. Well, where's the Bell of Justice?
I don't know. The Bell of Justice was getting so rusty. I think I put it back into the Bell Hall of Fame somewhere. Hold on, let me see if I can find this thing. I don't know what happened. Oh, here it is. I found it. Hold on, Hunley. I found the Bell of Justice. And it's been unrung for so long that
we got exhausted.
It's got exhausted from how many subscribers it linked. Okay, so here we go. You ready? There's the Bell of Justice. If you don't subscribe now, I can't help you. Go ahead, eat some geese out of the pond. I can only tell you that I busted some Koreans trying to steal goldfish out of a pond here in Griffith Park a number of years back with a little fishing net they had. I don't know if they wanted to make sushi out of it or what the deal was, but it was a pond that had goldfish. And they were looking around, and I'm gonna go, are they stealing these fucking goldfish? And I had to go up to these 2 elderly Korean ladies And I said, those aren't for food, lady. And they ran away. They scurried away with their fishing net on a stick that they had.
Okay. Steve McMahon said, Mark, when you do Ruth Payne, something goes boing, if you remember tour boomer speak.
This is Ed McMahon's son, the sidekick of Johnny Carson. So apparently, obviously inebriated at this point, like his father was on many shows. I think he was the sidekick drinking buddy of Johnny Carson, from what everyone says in their memoirs.
All right. Innisfad said, can we send all the feds Motorola pagers?
You know, it's depends what you put inside the pagers. I mean, if the Mossad sends it, you know, what do they celebrate? It's not Merry Christmas. What do they have over there? They don't have Hanukkah. What do the Muslims have?
Oh, a rush. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Kiki Ray. Woo. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Kiki. Pamela said Trump is live now on Benny's YouTube channel. So I guess he's on Benny.
Thanks for getting rid of my entire audience, Pamela. That was helpful. Where do I mail the $5? It's almost like saying you're in a rock concert and they go, hey, somebody's giving out free cocaine outside. And then there's nobody in the rock concert anymore.
Good point. Russ's Android, you can run the dishwasher, just don't use the heated dry. That's what causes the fires.
Oh, thank you, Firebug. Thank you, Firebug. Yeah, I was supposed to go camping, but they're burning in the entire state of California at this point.
There you go. Rustus Android, security or not, you can't physically restrain an individual following the law in public. Yes,
that's assault. Of course, it's a no-brainer. I mean, the guy is just walking along, asking her questions. What is she? She's got more protection than the president.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry that somebody asked you a question, but you're in public trying to. In other words, she wants it both ways. She wants to be in public so they have the backdrop, but nobody could get within shouting distance of her.
Yeah, I hear you. I didn't know this. Somebody sent a Rumble rant. Happy Constitution Day, America.
Yeah, I was
read and study your Constitution, learn it and know it. It doesn't fight for us. We have to fight for it. Know what you're fighting for. God bless America.
Thank you. The First and Second Amendments are the two that they hate the most on the left. From what we see, I mean, they are really upset. And I said this years ago. You can amend the Constitution. I don't know why they don't try. I know it's hard to do, but if they started it, I think you have to get a majority in the state legislatures and 2/3 of the House and the Senate. But they make no attempt to do this. All they do is go around it, violating the law by doing these different various anti-Second Amendment things. And now, thanks, Pat. I'm just kidding. And this is Tony Clifton's daughter, one of the great comic tour managers of all time. And then the First Amendment, they've obviously gone to draconian methods to deal with the First Amendment. So I guess it's easier if you're a fascist to do it this way. Let me just put it that way.
What's confusing to me is
and now the New York Times came out denouncing the Constitution. Multiple news medias have come out denouncing the Constitution.
Well, because it's typical short-sightedness. I mean, come on. 20 years ago, they loved the First Amendment.
Yes, very popular.
Very popular.
They love the Supreme Court. I mean, the Supreme Court thing is so transparently insane. They love the Warren Court. They love the Berger Court. They love all these different courts until it goes the other way, and then they don't love the court. Come on, it's like a spoiled kid who Charlie Brown is going to take his football and leave because they keep losing at these America's street games. That's essentially what's happening. They don't like losing, and once they start losing, what is the first thing they want to do? Change the rules.
Oh, yeah.
Change the rules. Every single time. Just change the rules. Why?
My favorite example, that is a nuclear option.
Oh, yeah. That's another good one. You could frame it. And
McCain, whatever anybody says about him, he said at the time, you do know you are doing this now. It is going to bite you.
They don't care.
When it goes around.
There's no tomorrow. It's all about right now. Which is the mantra of drug addicts. Because with drug addicts, it's all about right now. How do I get pleasure right now? It's not about, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your family, you're going to lose your house. That's all pie in the sky or death in the sky later. It's instant gratification. And that's what these atheistic single cat women who are running the Democratic Party believe in, is instant gratification.
You know what? The fact that you laid in atheistic, really, I think you hit on something there. Because Christians are always worried about the future, about being judged later and afterlife.
Oh yeah.
But if you're saying there is nothing but right now, then yeah, what do you care? All there is right now, and that's going to be your focus. And I did not think about that.
Oh no.
Until
you're
you
correct.
said that in that moment.
No, and I'll give you another level to it. Because you have no God or theistic belief system, whatever it may be, and I'm not saying you should take mine or anybody else's, because you have none, you create your own morality. So anything could be talked into your head or out of your head by yourself. What's moral yesterday for you may not be moral today. And that's what you're looking at among these atheistic Democratic Marxists. Their morality is what they say it is that minute. They don't report to a higher authority. There is no afterlife, as you pointed out. And a lot of the baby boomers, rock and roll baby boomers, are not prepared for what's happening to them and are losing their freaking minds. And I believe the same is true. And I said this to a friend of mine the other day about what's going on in Russia with the saber rattling of World War III. I think there are neocon versions of these baby boomers who are leaving the planet due to age, who are quite willing to take everybody with them, Eric. And we had a long discussion, me and my friends, about this, because we've seen this among baby boomer rockers, people like Rob Reiner and his generation, where they're willing to take down the entire establishment because they're leaving the earth themselves. In other words, the party's going to end when I end. And we never thought about that there are political people who are boomers who may be doing the same thing intellectually, that they don't care if there's a planet, and they're quite willing to test whether Putin has the resolve to respond to their aggression. And it sounds like an abstract idea, but it may not be.
No. Also, another thing I wanted to bring up, if you guys want to support us, we have a rather fine coin, and people are. I've heard nothing but great things about the coin.
These coins are great. It's a great collector's item. It's a brilliant idea,
and it's portable. One thing is, one size fits all. Your pocket. I mean, you don't have to. You can buy it for yourself. You can give it away. You can share it. Really, really fine, detailed work. I'm super impressed with it. And speaking of detailed work, I'm also very impressed. I don't always do it, but I happen to like today's thumbnail very much.
That's a great thumbnail. It looks like something we would do with Lampoon years ago, and a very impressive artistic work. Really impressive. And if you want to support Eric and I, you could go to down below are some links to my Nixon book fund, which is now trouncing the rate of the JFK book fund, because there seems to be, this is insane, almost as many books in the Nixon world. You know what? I'm buying Nixon books like it's going out of style, so any support would be great. But I just want to say this. John Sirica, for his memoir, got $5 million, Hunley. I recently read that. Just an insane.
So when was that? What year?
That was in the 70s.
5 million then. So,
yeah.
No, that's significant. But that's like giving him 20.
I think it was 2 or 3 million, and I extrapolated it to 5 million, but it's not. Okay. But it's not. It's more than that. You're saying.
Well, I'm saying that no. If you look at the money at the time,
right?
Oh my God!
I think it might have been 3 million, and I got the book. I got the book, but the other books are even more fascinating. I started to watch the HBO series I told you about called Gaslit, and it's got Julia Roberts and Sean Penn are the stars. Chris Bauer's in there, and Chris Bauer is an old friend, so I emailed him last night. I don't have the heart to tell him, but there's a scene where he's playing James McCord, which we've done an episode. If anybody wants to see what I'm talking about, you could see the James McCord episode. And he's talking to G. Gordon Liddy. And he says to Liddy, I understand, and I'm paraphrasing, he says, I understand you were a G-man for a number of years. And Liddy says, yeah, what about you? And he says, CIA. And he says, and then McCord says, but I always respected you FBI agents. And Liddy says, thanks. And of course, the researchers didn't realize that McCord was an FBI agent before he was a CIA agent. So now I've had to tell Chris Bauer, my friend, that he completely fucked up the research, not him. He didn't know that McCord was an FBI agent, thereby making the entire conversation at the end of episode 1 completely deranged, because he's talking about an agency that he himself was part of, James McCord, that being the FBI.
Well, by the way,
you can learn if Chris Bauer had watched the McCord episode, although the show was 2 years old.
It was already wrapped, so yeah.
It's 2 years. I can't blame him, but I just felt bad emailing him last night.
Well, I will say that Chris Bauer was tremendous in season 2 of The Wire.
Yeah, no, he's got, if you look at his IMDb, it's one of the craziest lists of TV and film possibly of any working actor. I mean, just the amount of stuff. And he does stage on his own. He does some stage. He did a Mammoth play he invited me to out here in Culver City one time. I mean, dude, the guy works. The guy works. That's all you could say about it. It's one of the top, the throwaway lines out here is when you say a guy works. Yeah, it's like, that's a line for actors.
Well, he's a great character actor for sure.
But if you remember the story, which we're going to get into when we get into John Mitchell more, they had hired McCord to be the bodyguard, when really the babysitter for the alcoholic Martha Mitchell, who would get drunk and drunk dial people in the middle of the night, mostly reporters, and she would start blathering on about the machinations in the White House, and then try to get out of the house and whatever she was going to do. So James McCord was one of the first babysitters of Martha Mitchell, and you could see that in the episode. Now, next Tuesday, the reason Eric and I did this became apparent of alternating Tuesdays, because now we could cover the news that seems to be exploding during the election season. But next week, Tuesday, we're going to do part 2 of 3 of E. Howard Hunt, which is going to be fascinating if you people are into Hunt, because now it seems like the Hunt episode has taken off a little bit, Eric, in terms of volume, because this character is such a linchpin for so many things, going from the JFK assassination to Watergate to the Bay of Pigs. No man covers that terrain more than
OSS too.
OSS and going back to Wild Bill Donovan, you got OSS, World War II, right? Bay of Pigs, JFK, right? Watergate, under
It's
Nixon.
almost like Angleton, right? That long span of multiple things.
Right. And the thing about Helms was Angleton's kind of in the story, but he's got a better protector in Dick Helms, who's the head of the CIA. And that's why he's able to operate. But so was McCord. And it's an interesting take that all of them were CIA, which they'd like you not to know, that all of the burglars had links to Central Intelligence Agency, except for Liddy, who was
served the longest,
right,
in prison.
Yeah,
he suffered the most. So that figures. All right. Well, on that note, we're going to head over to Locals. Probably the best place you can support us, unstructured.locals.com.
Hey, as he's almost finished with part 4 of the
part 5 should be underway. Yeah,
part 5 is almost.
Part 4 is there.
Part 4 is this is only 5 parts, and then we're going to move on to LBJ. But you're not going to get it unless you pay the $70 a month, year rather. I think it's about $5 a month, or we don't have.
It's like $5 and change a month. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what most people charge for Locals. Are there more expensive Locals?
Yeah. Beaver and Barnes is 100.
Wait. 100 a year, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we're at 70 a year.
Correct.
But there's secret documents you can read too, and scripts and PDFs.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just put up Ryan Rauch's book.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, for anybody who wants to go through that.
Right on. Okay, now you're getting something for your $70.
Yeah, there's several PDFs that aren't necessarily widely available, things like that. And I wanted to make sure to get that up there before it vanishes.
What I'd like is the work that Eric did with the AI for Oswald, which is a radio show like Mercury on the Air, like War of the Worlds. I mean, this thing has Foley mixed in. It's got sound effects. It's got all these different voices. It comes to life. The Oswald miniseries I did with Oliver Stone. By the way, just one final note. I started to watch Nuclear Now last night, Oliver Stone's documentary on nuclear power, which I highly recommend. It's on Newsmax. It's for free. There's some commercial interruptions, but who gives a shit? It goes through the history of nuclear power. And if you think you know everything about it, you're crazy, because this documentary explains how we got to where we are worldwide and the history of the nuclear power industry. It's absolutely fascinating. And I highly recommend. It's called Nuclear Now by Oliver Stone.
Awesome. I will definitely check that out. All right. So everybody head over to Locals. There's a link in the description below. You should be able to check it out. There's also links to our guests' books, and links to coffee, links to the coin, links to the wellness company. We do appreciate having the sponsors, and anybody who wants to invest with their health. It's a good idea, I think, all around. As Mark mentioned before, he actually asked me to reach out to them well before they got to us through Rumble as a sponsor. So,
oh yeah, like, you know, because I saw Viva doing it, and I went, "Holy crap! I've had that product for a year." And I asked Viva about it, and he said Viva told me to contact them, because I asked him when I saw him promoting it.
Yep, and it's good stuff. So.
It's great stuff. It's great. It's a great product. It really is. Long overdue, by the way. Long overdue. I'm surprised somebody didn't figure that out and sell that a number of years ago.
True. So see everybody at Locals momentarily.